What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. Well, everything's a little different this year when we do this preview. We're talking about the Preakness Stakes at Laurel Park. Yeah, that's right. Laurel Park is where we'll go. Not at Pimlico this year as they redo that facility. Probably much needed, honestly. But we're at Laurel here. Only 4,800 people will be able to attend the race. It'll be very different watching the Preakness this year with nobody out in the outfield or infield, I should say, and very limited amount of people there, period. But that's what we've got. All right, let's get it. Race 13 at Laurel Park on Saturday. It is the Preakness going a mile and 3/16. Grade 1 event, full field of 14. I'll put it up on the screen for you now. Let's go through all 14 of them, and let's see what we can try to decipher at a very tough race. The favorite in this race is number 9, Iron Honor at 9-2. Iron Honor has 0 wins around 2 turns. His 1-2 turn race was off the board finish in the Wood Memorial, yet he is the favorite. That tells you, A, we got a lot of mystery in this race, a lot of intrigue, and B, who knows who to make the favorite, right? This is a very wide open event filled of horses who are just okay. All right, let's get to it. A horse that has been perfect so far is the number 1, Taj Mahal, and that's where we'll start. 3 races for Taj Mahal, 3 victories, all coming right here at Laurel Park. So if you want a horse that's been winning, that's him. If you want a horse that likes Laurel Park, that's also him. Last time out in the Tessio, a 8 1/4 length victory, looked very good doing it there. Also had 2 other wins, like I said earlier in the year at Laurel Park. My kind of issue when we go into this, the Tessio was a pretty weak running of the race, which, it's never all that strong, but it seemed pretty weak on paper. And Taj Mahal beat, weaker horses. His trip was super easy. Like at the half-mile marker, he was 10 lengths ahead of the second place horse. So basically got to the front, unhurried, unpressured, and got the job done. I don't hate on horses that do that because, you got to have talent to do that. And sometimes you're just the most talented horse. You're faster than everybody else early and you're gone, and that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. The problem now, though, that's going to look completely different in a field where everybody almost wants to go to the front. Up to 10 horses kind of want the lead or want to be close to the lead. And so that's going to make Taj Mahal either run extremely fast early or faster than he has been, or he's going to have to sit behind some horses. Like those are your 2 kind of options in a race like this. And that's what has me a little bit worried about him. So Taj Mahal for me, a horse that I think has a big chance. I am worried about the trip. That's the biggest problem I worry about with him. The number 2, Oselli, yes, he is still a maiden. 7 starts, only 1 second. He does have 4 third-place efforts, but he has 1 very famous third-place effort, and that came in the Kentucky Derby just 2 weeks ago. The Kentucky Derby had a complete pace meltdown, and Oselli was able to run him down and passed them all and actually had the lead in the stretch of the Kentucky Derby at 70-1 as a maiden before Renegade and Golden Tempo were passing him late, but he only lost the Kentucky Derby by a length. Now, I was kind of on the I'm never playing this horse, hill, basically, because you got 70-1 in the Derby. He was 28-1 in the Wood Memorial, and now you're getting 6-1 here, in the Preakness, and he may even go lower. So I was kind of on that. I'm never going to play him. I also didn't expect the Preakness to have, 10 or 11 horses really want the lead or want to be close to the lead. This actually sets up very well for a closer. He kind of proved in his last spot he's a pretty good closer. So I actually think it sets up pretty well for him. I think there's a clear path, I should say, to victory for Oselli. I think you got to use him. I did not put him on top, but it almost feels like he's going to get that setup. He's going to make that run. And if he can kind of come with that same kind of effort, he's going to be there, actually. So I kind of shocked myself when I was handicapping this thing several times, but I ended up coming back and saying, yeah, I think Oselli might have a shot here because of the way the race sets up. So, but the big question mark and the thing you got to ask yourself, are you going to take 6-1 on him, when he has never won a race and he's 6-1 in a Triple Crown race and he got 70-1 on him last time out? I don't know. It's tough for me to do. I do think logically there's a path to victory for him, though, and maybe he is a maiden to win the Preakness, and he would be the first one since 1888 to be a maiden to win the Preakness. That's crazy. All right, number 3 is Crupper. Crupper's the horse I'm rooting for with my fandom, of course. So that's because he's trained by Donnie K. von Hemel, and that's obviously I would love to see him win a race like this. That would be very exciting. And look, I think the horse is getting better. Horses by Candy Ride out of She's All In, and She's All In was a very good Donnie K. von Hemel trained mare, Oklahoma bred horse that won a ton of races. So love that as well. But look, I think the horse is just a little bit of a cut below, even though it's a little bit of a weaker Preakness field. We haven't seen this horse really run a huge race yet. I thought the race in the Bathhouse Row was good, and I think that's a nice little stepping stone, and I think the horse is probably, he did earn the shot to the Preakness, and then even beyond the Preakness, no matter what happens, I think, kind of some of those lesser derbies like the Iowa Derby, that might be a good spot for this horse. Ultimately, maybe the Oklahoma Derby, things like that. I'm just a little skeptical that this is the race where we're going to see him at his best. So I did take a pass on Crupper, but obviously my heart is rooting for Crupper to get the job done. Number 4, Robusta, is another horse I don't have any interest in. Nowhere to be found in the Kentucky Derby, nowhere to be found in the Santa Anita Derby either. 3 races back, did finish second in the San Felipe, but it wasn't that strong of a race. Kind of felt like he was wandering all over the track that day. I just can't see him making much of an impact here. He's not for me. 120 to 1 shot who is for me, though, is the number 5 Talkin. I'm very interested in this horse. I think he's very sneaky in this spot. As a 2-year-old, 2 really good races to start his career, broke the maiden at Saratoga. That's not easy to do. Came back, finished second in the Champagne to a runaway winner in Napoleon Solo. But Talkin was okay that day. Not good in the Rimson whatsoever. Then got 3 months off. Came back in the Tampa Bay Derby. Trainer Danny Gargan said he's a little short, but we got to get him a race. I thought he ran okay. He got 5th, beaten 5 lengths. I thought he was a little bit up too close to the pace, but he ran okay, and I thought that's a good building block. The Bluegrass, again, I thought Rosario put him a little bit too close to the pace. I would like to see him back off a little bit. And both times, he runs races both times this year where he kind of looks like he's getting past, and then he kind of re-rallies again. I think they need to drop him back, try to make one run with him. He was 3rd in the Bluegrass, beaten 12 3/4. I'd feel a lot better about him if he was, 2nd in the Bluegrass, beaten 6 lengths, right? But just the fact that he got past late, and it makes me a little worried. But I love that Irad Ortiz Jr. gets aboard. I love that this is the 3rd race off the layoff. I love that this has kind of been the target for this horse, the logical target for this horse for a while now. I like the workouts. He's been working really well down at Keeneland. I think he's ready to run the best race of his career. And I love that Irad gets aboard. I think they'll work out the trip this time. I think Talkin is really live in this spot. And I think he's going to show up and run very well. The number 6 is Chip Honcho. Chip Honcho is just a horse I've never been able to get fully behind. He's trained by Steve Asmussen, who is my favorite trainer, or at least one of my favorite trainers, and he gets Jose Ortiz aboard here. I love that. I think that's great. As Jose tries to win the second leg of the Triple Crown, just like he won the Kentucky Derby. I just have never loved him. I've always viewed him as an average horse. Now, an average horse very well could win this version of the Preakness. I think this was a great move by Asmussen to wait for the Preakness. That makes total sense to me. He fits really, really well in this spot. But man, the Risen Star was a really good race from him. The other ones have been just kind of average. And the Risen Star, he got off to a pretty easy lead on a track that was favoring speed. And that the track very well could favor speed. That's possible. But you just don't see an easy lead for him in this spot. There's a lot of horses that want the front. So that tells me he's going to have to come from out of it a little bit here, which I think he can make a mild run, but I just don't know that he's good enough. So at 5 to 1, I kind of had to take a pass on Chip Honcho. The number 7, The Hell We Did. This is another horse. This is like my heartstrings rooting for some of these horses. The Donnie K. von Hemel horse, and then Asmussen's got one. And then Senor Bruce Goodor's brothers in this race. Are you kidding me? So another horse I'm rooting for here, The Hell We Did. I'm rooting for him, but I just can't get there. The Lexington, I bet him that day at 5 to 1, and he finished second, beaten 2 1/4. And I just hated how Trendsetter just kind of passed him pretty easily. And Trendsetter came back and ran pretty poorly in the Peter Pan last weekend, finishing 3rd. I don't know. I think The Hell We Did was sitting a little too close to the pace. I think he needs to get a little bit further back. I think he will just naturally with all the other speed, but and I'm just a little skeptical of him. I really want to get there. I just couldn't get there with him. I wouldn't talk you off of him. I just couldn't with him. The number 8 is Bull by the Horns. He's another closer that this should set up pretty well for. You know, I don't love the horse. He looks kind of light on numbers to me. His dirt races are very underwhelming. He did run well to win the Rushway last time out. Now back to the dirt, maybe, right? Maybe. There's a little bit something there. I think the pace is really going to have to collapse. I couldn't get there with Bull by the Horns. I think he's just a cut below the rest of these horses. The number 9 is Iron Honor. Is, like I said earlier, he is the favorite. I don't think he should be. It's kind of one of those deals where you respect Chad Brown in the Preakness. He's come here with horses that haven't looked that good and they've been able to win or run really well, like Blazing Sevens when he got second. Iron Honor's one race around 2/3 of Wood Memorial. He got 7 feet and 4 1/4 in a race. It just fell apart from a speed standpoint. It looks pretty fast again. Chad Brown's taking the blinkers off, and I think he's doing that to try to get this horse to come from out of it a little bit. Maybe not a dead closer for sure, but maybe sit back and be patient. Flavian Pratt gets aboard instead of Manny Franco. It's not an offense to Manny Franco, but I think if we're trying to be patient and get the horse taken back off the pace, I think, Flavian Pratt makes sense for that kind of strategy. I've always thought this horse was pretty good. I don't want to give up on him. I think I've got to put him in my top 4. I hate that he's 9-2. I hope he floats up in price a little bit. I think he might. I kind of think he's going to bounce back and run better. And I kind of think they're going to get him off the pace a little bit and see if that helps. And I think the blinkers off may help try to settle him down a little bit early. So, I think he is in with a shot here. I think he's a horse. I don't think he's as bad as that Wood Memorial. I think he's going to run better in this spot. The number 10 is Napoleon Solo. And this horse, got famous real quick. Maiden special weight win at Saratoga, and then on to win the Champagne Stakes by open links in both those races. Gate to wire, looked amazing doing it. And then the 3-year-old year hit. Fountain of Youth Stakes, he got 5th, beaten 11 3/4. Wood Memorial, he was 5th, beaten 2 3/4. He did, get out of the gate a lot better than the Wood Memorial. He got the spot, he got the lead, just got pressed and faded. The problem is that's kind of how I see it here. He's going to get pressed. There's a lot of speed. He might be the fastest of them all, but can he clear? Yeah. Can he hold? That's where I worry. I just worry that they're going to get mowed down late. I'm worried that pace is going to get hot. I think he's in with a big shot. I like him here certainly a lot more than I would like him in the Kentucky Derby if he would have been able to make that race. I just think he might be better around one turn. I just worry about that aspect of it. If you want to take a shot with him, though, I understand it. Maybe he gets out in front. Maybe he's the speed of the speed and he can hold him off. We'll see. I'm just afraid he's going to have to go pretty fast, and that's going to hurt him late in the race. And another reason why I think he's going to have to go pretty fast. So number 11, Corona de Oro, also with a ton of speed in this race. His last 2 starts when he was at his best, he was on the lead. He was on the lead in the Lexington before fading to 3rd. He was on the lead in his maiden special weight, and he got the job done. I think he'll go too. I think he's got one, kind of chance to win, and that's go to the front. And so I think, again, hot pace is coming. And I think Napoleon Solo and Corona de Oro are both going to go out to the front. One horse who's not going to go out to the front is the number 12, Incredible. I really love that Riley Mott put this horse in the race. Late edition of the race, I think they just looked at it and said, man, we're going to be 5-1 in a grade 1. We have to go in here. And he's going to be a popular horse. 2 races back, was able to win the Virginia Derby. 4 races back, he was the winner of the Street Sense Stakes at Churchill Downs. We kind of know in the Holy Bull when he did no running, that was his only really race of his career where he was awful. He just hated Gulfstream Park, and so you kind of draw a line through that. Kentucky Derby, look, he was part of those horses that were towards the back. He made a move. He got 6th. Wasn't too bad, only 4 lengths away from winning the Kentucky Derby. He makes a lot of sense to me. He makes a lot of sense to be in this spot. I love that they put him in here. I think that's exactly what they should have done. Makes total sense. So I like Incredible in this race. I think, again, with a lot of pace signed on, I think he's just going to kind of sit back, make one run, and if they come back to him far enough, he's going to have a great chance to mow him down. The number 13 is Great White. Great White coming into this race after a 5th place effort in the Bluegrass. He had a stomach issue that day, and so that was kind of the reason why maybe he didn't run all that well. So, his other races have been on synthetic. I mean, he was pretty good in 2 of the 3 races at Turfway Park over the winter. I just think he's kind of a cut below still. I I think he's a cool horse. I think he's a gorgeous horse, probably the prettiest horse in the field. Somebody asked the other day, who's the prettiest? It's probably Great White, but I don't know. He's got a lot of proving to do to me. Didn't draw very well either. And another horse that maybe wants to go to the front to add to the pace. And then the number 14, Pretty Boy Maya. This horse on a number standpoint is actually kind of competitive with this field. But boy, they came in a maiden special weight at Aqueduct, going 6.5 furlongs, and then a one-turn mile starter allowance at Aqueduct that he was able to win. He won both those races, looked really good. Numbers were good there. Stretching out in distance and a big time step up in class, plus a terrible post, plus another one that wants to be towards the front. I just think it sets up pretty poorly for the number 14, Pretty Boy Maya. All right, before we get to the picks here, I want to tell you about our good friends over at MyBookie. Most sports books treat horse racing like it only exists 3 weekends a year: Kentucky Derby, Preakness, Belmont, and then it disappears. That's honestly why I like MyBookie so much. Racing is actually built into the platform year-round. You can bet the big races, daily cards from tracks around the world, and even stream races live right there on the site while you're watching the board and looking for value. And if you're somebody grinding races every day like we are, the rebates are really nice bonus too. Depending on the track, you can get up to 8% back on exotics, which definitely adds up over time, especially if you're betting all the races like we are. The other thing I like is everything is connected to one account. I can go from betting Gulfstream or Saratoga straight into baseball, NBA playoffs, whatever's on that night, without the money having to move around to 5 different apps. So if I've already been betting horses, so if you're already been betting horses or just looking for one spot that does it all, check out MyBookie and use promo code RacingDudes when you sign up. One account, one wallet, horses, sports, casino, all in one place. All right, guys, back to the picks here. Who am I putting on top in the Preakness Stakes? I'm going to go with number 5, Talkin' at 20-1 on top for me. Danny Gargan, Irad Ortiz Jr. I think this horse is sitting on a big race. I think he's getting ready to run an improved effort. I think Irad will give him the exact trip that he needs. If he's good enough, he'll get it done. I'm going to go number 5, Talkin' on top. Number 12, Incredible in second for me. Number 9, Iron Honor in third. And the number 2, Oselli in fourth. 5-12-9-2. 5-12-9-2 this year in the Preakness. All right, guys, I'll do this for this video. Hit that like button if you like it. Subscribe, you really like it. If you want to get alert anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're betting the Preakness on Saturday.